Des, Singapore football is shit now, isn't it? I mean, you know, all these players are leaving. One club's going to leave maybe. No one knows when SAF are going to get the title. Nobody knows if they can use this stadium behind you, National Stadium. It's dead. It's dying. Why not just give up and rejoin the Malaysian League? I
wouldn't quite put it as bluntly as that. It's got its problems, certainly, and all of those things, they are real problems. The National Stadium, I suppose, is symptomatic of what's going on. But no, it's not shit. It's pretty good. You go to some of the games. There was a game, Albirex versus Geylang, the RHB Cup semi-final, went to extra time and penalties. Albirex are bringing an awful lot of good flavour to the league. Geylang United, when they won that RHB Singapore Cup tie, they were chuffed to bits. It does matter. It has its problems, but no, it's not shit. It's still a product that's worth putting time and effort into and trying to publicise it more.
Okay, so things aren't so bad and the war's not going to end. Looking back over the season so far, then, any highlights for you in the season?
There have been a number of highlights. DPMM, okay, they've got problems with FIFA. We knew about that before, but they brought a physicality to the game. And whenever DPMM played, there was an atmosphere, there was an edge to it. Particularly up at Woodlands, I saw one game there which got very, very testy. Against Tampines, there were quite a few games that got very physical. And DPMM brought something brand new. Simunic was a revelation. Love him or hate him, many hated him. But there was something to talk about. There was a little bit of an edge. Okay. So many other things. Tampines have been a remarkable story. I'm always amazed how they underachieve. They've got such good players. And Singapore Armed Forces, let's not forget how Singapore Armed Forces performed in the AFC Champions League. They did Singapore proud. Yes, they lost a couple of games badly, but this is further than Singapore have ever got in the club side. And there's a national team. They made it to the third round of the Asia World Cup qualifiers. That's unheralded territory. There have been highs left, right and centre. I'm still a big believer. Yes, there's problems, but there's a product here.
Okay, so this afternoon we've just been following the Arema Persija game by SMS. Arema won 1-0. All these Singapore players heading south. So next year's S League is going to be pretty dull, I imagine.
Again, it's got its problems. What it does, it gives young kids a chance to step up. I'm thinking of the likes of Fazal Nawaz, who's always been overshadowed. He's at Gombak United now. And Fazal is a very, very good player who's been in and out of starting lineups. He's been badly injured this year, but it's a chance for Fazal to step up. All these young lions, there's a lad called Obedin, who's one of the best natural centre-backs I've seen, certainly in Southeast Asia. He could play anywhere. He's a step up on Precious. When Bahaki Kaizon leaves, Bahaki's been in the Singapore League for 6-7 years. There are young players. Adrian Danaraj will come in and replace him at Geylang. So for each of these guys who we say are high profile, but they've gone, there are people to step up and take their place. It's up to these young players to believe in themselves. It's up to the likes of us in the press to showcase these fellas. Say, listen fellas, you are pretty good. You are part of a squad that made it to the third stage of the World Cup qualifiers. So the immediate impression is that Singapore's in trouble. I tell you what, there's always somebody to replace them. Whenever somebody goes, somebody new will come in and take their place. No worries.
So the war's not going to end. We don't have to rejoin the Malaysian football. Singapore League, it's going to kick on.
It needs help to kick on. It really does need help. The biggest issue I see, I work in the media, and the S League has no visibility. The local papers, they will report not on a match from the previous night, even if it's a humdinger, but they'll do a preview for whatever commercial reasons. It's wrong. It needs to be changed. It needs television profile. The only television profile it gets is the Friday night game on Mediacorp. It needs more. And it doesn't need live coverage, because live coverage is compared to English Premier League and the best level, and it doesn't compare. But you condense these 90-minute games into 5 and 10-minute highlight packages and you put them on air. I tell you what, people will suddenly realise there are good players out there. There are great skills, there are super goals, and there's good entertainment. It's about packaging, and it's about putting people out into the public eye. You read in the papers all the time, why would I bother to watch local league football when I compare it to Premier League? You wouldn't necessarily, unless the heroes are made for you. And it's up to us in the media to try to make these heroes. I try, and I've done it myself at ESPN Star Sports, but ESPN don't necessarily want that Singapore market for themselves. It's up to the local media. It's up to the Straits Times. It's up to Mediacorp. It's up to Singtel. It's up to StarHub. It's up to the FAS to create a package that will enable content to be delivered to these guys, and that content can be good.
So one of the things maybe Singapore could do is start looking at what's happening in Thailand and start maybe taking a few leaves from their book.
Yeah, Thailand, they changed from becoming corporate organisations into clubs. And it mattered. Suddenly teams mattered. In Singapore, we've got Tampines. I tell you, you go to Tampines and there's a nice tight little community there. They care about their club. You go to Woodlands, they care about their club. So there is a starting place. I'd love to see Jurong have its own club as it used to, because that's a community that matters, and when their team play, you can involve the community. I think Singapore has many wonderful things going for it. One of its problems is it's a little bit too, what's the word, too nice. You want rivalries. You want Woodlands Wellington fans shouting, if not abuse, and you want to control, but certainly to be competitive in their games. You go up to Woodlands and there's some terrific atmospheres at some stage. You go to Tampines and exactly the same. It's a little bit nice when you watch Home United play and Singapore Armed Forces, because it doesn't quite hit the heart. The heart is there. It's up to the league, I think, to try and pull more out of it, and it's up to the media and the press to actually praise the league in many ways. If there's a great game, really go to town on it.